Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 15 articles in this episode for you, so it's going to be rather lengthy. I'll get started on this, though. Talk about something real quick here. I know that the audio on some of my videos has been messed up. Here, that the issue is with YouTube. The audio on this computer over and over again. Up with any problems with the audio on my end. The audio problem only appears to happen on certain videos. So it appears that shit going on. Rhythms, if there is something that the censors do not like that is going on in the news program, then they are screwing up the audio on it so that it is very difficult to listen to. The only way that I know how to get around perhaps renaming the shows, I've tried that a couple weeks ago with the Clowns in the Capitol, and it seemed to work fine then. All I'm doing is trial and error here. This works. If the problem persists, I'm going to have to stop doing this. I'm not making any money on this. This is monetized. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart to try to bring the news to you folks. What is going on? I know many of you are too busy to dig through the tons of articles that it takes to bring one of these shows together. So I'm retired. I'm doing this on my own to try to help you guys. With my time to keep trying to do this, video is going to keep being screwed. So we're going to try a few things here for a few days and see if that doesn't situation. To tell you, I don't have this problem on my other channel. On here, I don't have any problem with it. So I can only assume ship issue. Now, for those of you who want to send me nasty grams and tell me that hard to listen to and you don't have time to waste on my channel, and then I pull up your channel and I see you're not doing any videos, you're not contributing to anything, a sub or two, I can't see where you're an expert on doing this, any advice on how to fix the program, doesn't mean very much to me. And that will get you banned off my channel. Unsub from it, I'll just ban you from it. Waste on people that don't have anything constructive to add. So, with that said, I'm going to get back to trying to bring you the news, and we're going to see if we can't get the audio situation under control. Not a problem with my computer. Over 9 hours over my computer with a fine-tooth comb. I've run everything on it known to mankind. I have tested the audio in multiple ways, and I'm not coming up with any issues other than the hamster having a little problem from time to time bringing articles up. So generally an issue with the site itself. So I don't know what to tell you. Best I can, I have available to me. Somebody out there wants to contribute a big fancy audio system for me. Hey, let's talk. You know, anything constructive to say, keep it to yourself. Now, good news. All these URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. So if you're having an issue with the audio, pull these articles up and look at them yourself, because all the URLs are right there for you to pull up. I've done your homework for you. First article we have is off of Liberty Headlines, and it says, Russian warship steaming toward U.S. destroyers off the Syrian coast. Originally came from Zero Hedge, and it says, early this morning, we reported that response to the Syrian attack, in addition to suspending communication with the U.S. forces to stop planes colliding over Syria, frigate Admiral Grigorovich would be deployed to the Tartus naval base in Syria. The Russian Black Sea Fleet's frigate, the Admiral Grigorovich, probably butchering that, but hey, I'm doing the best I can, currently on a routine voyage, would enter the Mediterranean later on Friday. A military diplomatic source in Moscow told TASS the ship would make a stop at the logistics base in Syria's port of Tartus. Russia wasted no time, as FN reports moments ago. The Russian frigate Admiral Grigorovich, RFS 494, crossed through the Bosphorus Strait a few hours ago from the Black Sea, according to a U.S. defense official. The Russian warship is now in the eastern Mediterranean, steaming in the direction of the U.S. warships. The Admiral Grigorovich is armed with advanced caliber cruise missiles. The next one I have here is off of Liberty Headlines. Hamster is spinning, so it should be here momentarily. There we go. Political I guess it's called, pulls true rating of John Kerry's claim of eliminating Syrian chemical weapons. This from Breitbart. It says PolitiFact, a 2014 fact check on remarks about Syria by former Secretary of State John Kerry after the claims administration got 100% of chemical weapons out of Syria turned out to be false. About the recent chemical weapons attack in Syria, admitted the outcry leads us to revisit a 2014 claim from former Secretary of State Kerry. Kerry said in a television interview that Syria 100% of the chemical weapons out, had agreed in 2013 to destroy its chemical stockpiles under the international supervision as part of a deal brokered by Russia, they explained. In July of 2014, the process seemed far along. Based on reports from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, which later won the Nobel Peace Prize for its efforts, we rated that claim mostly true. About incomplete information, international experts said the claim largely held up. Given recent events, we have pulled that fact check, and there is a link where you can read the archived version if you would. It says, because we now have many unanswered questions. Site declared. We don't know any key details about the reported chemical attack in Syria on April the 4th of 2017, but it raises two clear possibilities. Either Syria never fully complied with its 2013 promise to reveal weapons, or it did, but then converted otherwise non-lethal chemicals to military use. Subsequent events have proved Kerry wrong. Fact is often heralded as a reliable and neutral fact-checking source by the mainstream media and political establishment. Despite numerous revelations over the past, the site is largely biased toward the left wing. The article that I have for you is off of BizPack Review. And the hamster's spinning the wheel. Good. And here it comes. Freedom Watch attorney pleads for Obama to return from partying in grass skirts so he can be served. Founder of Freedom Watch and attorney Larry Klayman is calling for President Obama to quit partying on the beaches of Polynesia and get back home to face justice. The former federal prosecutor is waiting to serve Obama with 2 lawsuits he filed against him for inciting violence against President Donald Trump following his executive order halting immigration for those coming from several Muslim countries. Puts out a tweet that says Obama evading service of process of Freedom Watch complaints by partying on the beaches of Polynesia. So the founder of watchdog group Judicial Watch said the former president was responsible for stoking that violence and is guilty of doing other things as well. Obama, as of today, is off in Polynesia. Apparently, he's going to be there for over a month and a half, claimants said in a Freedom Watch video published on Friday. I can only picture him on the beach in a grass skirt, perhaps dancing around because he's happy right now that President Trump's presidency is being destroyed, he continued. It's clear that from the people around him having released classified information to smear President Trump, that's coming out more and more each day. It's a crime. It's clear that he must be behind it. Claimant attended Obama with the lawsuits at his palatial mansion in Washington, D.C. He noted in the video that Obama, come up here, let me get that off of the screen. Okay, he noted in the video that Obama always criticized the 1%ers in this country for ripping off the rest. However, the attorney said Obama is now living as a percenter. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, as a matter of fact. How did he amass that while he was president? Of skating from the crimes committed during his administration. We need to ramp up. We need more resources, Clayman said, appealing to viewers to contribute to the cause of Freedom Watch in holding Obama accountable. We need to take on these very evil forces who are still in what people have called the deep state embedded in our government, he said. Obama people are still there, and so are Clinton's people. Destroy the Trump presidency. Clayman urged those listening to join American Revolution is engaged in. We need you. We are waging a second American peaceful revolution, he said, and we need you as our troops. The article I have is also off of BizPac Review. It says 5 key cases Gorsuch will hear in his first month. President Trump and state Republicans move hell and high water to confirm U.S. Circuit Judge Neil Gorsuch to Justice Anton Scalia's vacant Supreme Court seat. But now, with less than a month left before the end of the court's current term, Gorsuch will hit the ground running on a number of key cases surrounding several controversial issues that will, according to Fox News' Andrew O'Reilly, not only gauge the 49-year-old Colorado native's conservative credentials, but also lay bare how he compares to his predecessor, Scalia. Police published Friday, O'Reilly and Bill Mears lay out 5 key cases that Gorsuch will hear as soon as he takes the bench. Cases that will give conservatives a good indication of whether we're dealing with the second coming of Anton Scalia or, God forbid, another David Souter. Consider the biggest church-state case in a long while. SCOTUS justices will be asked exclusion of churches from an otherwise neutral and secular aid program violates the free exercise and equal protection clauses when the state has no valid establishment clause concern. At Trinity Lutheran Church in Missouri, be able to use state funds from a grant to nonprofits to replace gravel on its playground surface with softer recycled rubber. Currently prohibits government aid to religious institutions. Conservatives in Trinity Lutheran Church are hoping the court will rule in favor of the school to accept government funds in a case like this. How will Gorsuch vote? In Wormel News, Gorsuch seems to be on the side government programs should treat religious freedoms fairly and should recognize the rights of religious organizations to participate in public welfare type programs. Then there's Weaver versus Massachusetts and Davila versus Davis. There's two cases. It says both of these Sixth Amendment issue cases deal with defendants who claim they had inadequate counsel. When ruled in favor of defendants, experts believe Gorsuch might see things differently. In fact, the Stanford Law Review has noted that while Gorsuch has admitted that counsel at the plea bargaining phase, he would likely amendment infringement where that ineffectiveness denied the defendant his constitutional entitlement to a trial. A criminal defendant with Sixth Amendment claims can fairly expect an uphill battle to win his vote. Maslin Jack versus U.S. When Davina Maslin Jack of Ohio, an ethnic Bosnian Serb, had her U.S. citizenship revoked for lying about country, she started a case that's about to make it all the way to the Supreme Court. Currently, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit has ruled that statements can lead to naturalized citizens being stripped of their citizenship, but will the High Court reverse this? Nobody knows for sure, as his record on immigration-related cases is mixed. A public employees retirement system versus ANS Security Incorporated. Class action security lawsuits be barred for filing too late? This is rule on the California retirement funds financial institutions stemming from their alleged role in Lehman Brothers' 2008 collapse will have dire consequences for investors and will determine if class members must file complaints before the 3-year period imposed by Section 13 of the Securities Act has run out. There you have that information. The next one is off of BizPac Review. As Warren's magical political trans even more enjoyable to watch now that he's confirmed. Elizabeth Warren can't escape the harsh reality of defeat. Hypocritical words from the past preserved on the internet forever. Judge Neil Gorsuch has been confirmed with a 54 to 45 vote. It seems all of Warren's theatrics were for naught. The senator obviously didn't want to see Gorsuch anywhere near the Supreme Court, if only because he will interpret the law according to the Constitution and not the liberal flavor of the month. For Thursday Twitter temper tantrum, the one after Republicans invoked the so-called nuclear option to broaden Harry Reid's rule eliminating the filibuster to confirm judges to include Supreme Court nominees really took the cake. Let's see. She put out this tweet that says, GOP won't pick a progressive, but if a SCOTUS nominee isn't mainstream enough for 60 votes, he or she shouldn't be confirmed. To jam through a right-wing, corporate-owned judge means GOP will have to own the Gorsuch court. Really, Pocahontas? Is this what a huff about? How about a blast from the past, your own past? Put out a video of what she had to say in a, and somebody put in this tweet about it. It says, the internet is forever, Liz. What she said was, we need to call out these filibusters for what they are. Naked attempts to nullify the result of the last presidential election to force us to govern as those President Obama hadn't won in the 2012 election. Obama did win the 2012 election, Warren then said, sounding like any Republican senator now, but it gets better. She says, if Republicans continue to filibuster these highly qualified nominees for no reason, then senators not only have the right to change the filibuster rules, senators have a duty to change the filibuster rules. On Thursday, April the 6th, 2017, that's exactly what senators did. And on Friday, they wasted no more time and confirmed Gorsuch with a 54 to 45 vote. The article is off of Liberty Writers. It hurts to get burned by your own words, doesn't it? This article says, nobody noticed the incredible thing Trump did with the Chinese president last night. Trump has had a heck of a weekend. Sure, y'all probably heard about him bombing the hell out of Syria last night, but I bet you didn't see the incredible thing he did with the Chinese president at the same time. Xi down to Mar-a-Lago, and however, it was a dinner that was, try that again. It was at dinner that night that the unbelievable moment happened. Video of this, the video, they agreed to be friends. And it shows them shaking hands in the video, which is something he did not do with the German. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's the big deal? Well, I'll tell you. His stance on China very clear. He's not going to let them get away with screwing us on trade and taking our business anymore. Also, there was a call with the Taiwanese president after Trump won. Hell, Trump even said he was going to deal with North Korea with or without China. Absolutely zero BS with Trump. So the fact man across the world meet with him for a few hours and develop a friendly and positive relationship is incredible. But hey, incredible seems to be what President Trump is all about. So much to keep all of his campaign promises and continues to work hard for we the people. With Trump, the sky's the limit. Off of BizPack Review. Ivanka's kids perform for China's president. Watch the proud mom and grandpa Trump beam. President Donald Trump's tough approach toward China and its leadership apparently has an unexpected soft side. The president's grandchildren, Arabella and Joseph, entertained China's President Xi Jinping and Madame Lai Yan, the first family in Florida, on Thursday. China News put out a tweet that says Trump's grandson and granddaughter sing traditional Chinese ballad, What a Beautiful Jasmine, and recite 2 Chinese ancient poems in Mar-a-Lago. This state-run Xinhua news agency reported that the children of Trump's daughter, Ivanka, and her husband, Jared Kushner, sang the traditional Chinese ballad, What a Beautiful Jasmine, as well as reciting ancient Chinese poems at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. In China, Ivanka and her children have become quite popular thanks in part to video of daughter Arabella speaking Mandarin and reciting Chinese poetry, which have gone viral in the country. And they've got videos of that in this if you want to see it. It's really cute. February, 5-year-old Arabella and her mother visited the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. to celebrate the Lunar New Year. China's ambassador Chai Tankai welcomed them to the embassy, where they watched a musical performance and saw traditional Chinese arts on display. Ivanka posted a video of Arabella singing a Chinese Happy New Year song and playing with a traditional string puppet. Shared a photo of her 1-year-old son Joseph enjoying a traditional Chinese birthday bowl of long life noodles. Got a picture of that. It's real cute here. The videos have each gone viral in China, which has developed an affinity for Ivanka and her children. CNN called Trump's daughter a secret weapon because of her ability to soften her father's confrontational approach towards Beijing and the eyes of the Chinese public. As Ivanka gets glowing coverage from China's state media after her visit to the Chinese embassy in Washington, the Global Times, a state-run tabloid, said that she was regarded as the most influential first daughter, and her words and deeds are also believed to carry more weight. Her appearance at the Chinese embassy with a certain political and diplomatic significance could be invigorating to the China-U.S. relationship, the paper said. Global Times also defended a factory that makes Ivanka Trump's branded shoes against allegations of overwork and poor working conditions. China's official news agency recently tweeted a photo of Ivanka comparing her to Lai Bingbing, one of China's most famous actresses. And the tweet says, similar faces, Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka and Chinese actress Lai Bingbing. Do you think they look like each other? Some of her fans in China see a diplomatic and political skills, plus her experience during her father's presidency. Ivanka not only be a second Hillary, but also may be the first female president in U.S. history, said Weibo user Mayo Kayan 123, according to CNN. The next article I have is off of BizPack Review. It says, Professor says Trump must hang, and two other, try this again, Trump must hang, and two Republicans should be executed, deported immigrant, it says. A history professor at California State University, Fresno, of course, California, appears to have advocated for the death of Donald Trump on Twitter. Tweets from an account purportedly Professor Lars Mazurchuk call for Trump to hang in order to save American democracy and say the only cure for racist people is a bullet to their head. Verified, although the bio and interactions between the user and other Twitter users indicate it belongs to the professor. American democracy, Trump must hang, Professor Lars Mazurchuk appears to have tweeted in February. The sooner and the higher the better, he says. Hashtag the resistance, hashtag death to fascism. Has anyone started soliciting money and design drafts for a monument honoring the Trump assassination yet? The other tweet a few days later along with the hashtag the resistance. The resistance, hashtag ethnic cleansing, the execution of two Republicans for each deported immigrant. The user has also said mercy towards racists is a fatal weakness of Americans. Tag the resistance, mercy towards racist was always the fatal weakness of good Americans, he tweeted. 1965, they left too many of them alive. Other tweets include thoughts on fascist Trump supporters and said the GOP. Hashtag when California secedes, you fascist Trump vote trash scum can wallow in your filthy hellholes of flyover states, he tweeted. Hashtag the resistance, a democracy must not be tolerant of those who want to abolish democracy. It must vigorously defend itself. Ban the @GOP. He also compared Trump to Hitler in other tweets, saying, yay, I finally got my own copy of Art of the Deal. It should be required reading for any real American. Hashtag the resistance, hashtag never my president. It took Hitler 5 years to get that point through. Trump is hitting the ground running. Has existed since June of 2013. I did not reply to multiple requests for comment. A spokeswoman for CSU Fresno told the Daily Caller News Foundation, Mazurchuk's comments on do not represent the university. Lars Mazurchuk is employed as a lecturer at Fresno State. Margarita Adana told the DCNF, statements made on his personal social media accounts are his alone and are not endorsed by the position of the university. I'd say his days at the university might be numbered, but it is California, so you never can tell. The next one we have here is off of the American Mirror. And waiting for it to pop up here. Scroll down a little bit. Well, got something in it. The hamster, yeah, it's got some hamster doesn't like. Okay, let's See if we can get this to cooperate here. They're still working on it. Now, here we go. Mayor of our newest sanctuary city calls police occupying force. Lansing, Michigan Mayor Virgil is scrambling to justify the city's sanctuary status for illegal immigrants, and he's invoking some loony excuses for defying immigration laws. Arrow, a union-backed Democrat, defeated by Michigan Governor Rick Snyder in 2010, on Tucker Carlson's Tonight to discuss the city's move to become the state's first sanctuary city. And there is video of that if you want to pull that up and take a look at that. You can get this to scroll down a little more. The Lansing City Council voted unanimously Monday night to defy the Trump administration's immigration policies, despite Attorney General Jeff Sessions about lost federal funding for sanctuary cities. The resolution reaffirmed the city's status as a welcoming city to immigrants and refugees, and then added the sanctuary status. The Detroit News reports it means the city directs its police and staff anyone's immigration status unless otherwise required to by federal, state law, or by court order. Carlson asked why he would risk federal funding for the city by ignoring the federal law, and the mayor said immigration is not a priority for us, and it's about building bridges, not walls. Brenda said local law enforcement doesn't want to be viewed as an occupying force. We believe in community policing. My police chief studies. He talks to other chiefs. They're about building relationships with the community. They're about police credibility and police legitimacy. So if you're seen as an occupying force, people don't trust, Brenda said, trailing off as Carlson cut him off. Occupying force in your country? People come into your country illegally, and it's your job to enforce the laws as police officers, and somehow feel guilty because you're an occupying force in a city you live in a country you're a citizen of. It went off the rails. It's easy for white men like us to say that, who are in the majority, who enjoy what we enjoy, but the fact is, the mayor said, as Carlson cut in again, taking you seriously in the beginning, but this is just buffoonish. Now it's like I'm a white man, so my views on this are less material or something. In another man's shoes, though, Brenda insisted. Walk a mile in someone else's shoes. The two talk over each other briefly, and Brenda continues to defend his race-based perspective. Do you get pulled over for driving while white? He asked Carlson. The nitty-gritty of policing. It's not the nitty-gritty. You're repeating bumper stickers you heard from the Lena Dunham. Spare me, Carlson shot back before promptly closing the segment. That reminds me of my daddy saying you can't argue with an idiot, and there, cut him off. This one's off BizPack Review. It says Muslim teen writes Black Lives Matter over and over for essay answer and gets into Stanford. He accepted a Muslim teenager who responded to a college essay question by simply writing Black Lives Matter over and over. The essay prompt asked potential applicants, what matters to you and why? Reports the Washington Times. One student, a New Jersey high school senior named Ziad, answered the question by writing Black Lives Matter 100 times. Acceptance letter from Stanford University. I was actually stunned when I opened the update and saw that I was admitted, Ahmad told Mick. I didn't think I would get admitted to Stanford at all, but it's quite refreshing to see that they view my unapologetic activism as an asset rather than a liability. considers himself an ally of Black Lives Matter and told Mick he wanted to stand up for Black people. It's our responsibility to scream that Black Lives Matter because it is not to say that all lives do not matter, but it is to say that Black lives have been attacked for so long and that we must empower through language, perspective, and action, Ahmed said. Ahmed interned for former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton during the 2016 election and attended a White House dinner during the Obama administration where he was acknowledged by the president for his activism. So accepted into Yale University and Princeton University. He still hasn't made a decision about which college he will attend in the fall. My unapologetic progressivism is a central part of my identity, and I wanted that to be represented adequately in my application, Ahmed said. Stanford application. Wow. This is off BizPack Review. It says one Florida county audited election results after close race, and look how many illegal votes they found. Two ineligible voters went to the polls in Putnam County, Florida, according to a Thursday report from Florida Times Union. Votes came from deceased persons, convicted felons, or people who weren't registered residents of the state of Florida, according to the report. The election in question was a local sheriff's race between Sheriff Homer DeLoach, a Democrat, and Jonathan Kinney, a Republican. DeLoach won the race in 2016 by only 16 votes. The original tally showed that Kinney led by 18 votes, but a state-mandated audit revealed that as many as 430 ballots didn't appear in the original count because they weren't uploaded to the county server on election night. There's nobody there's nobody adding ballots. There were no ballots sitting in somebody's car. Told the Times Union in November. DeLoach won the race after the votes were added. Kinney a challenge to the election results, and the ensuing investigation revealed that as many as 42 votes were cast illegally, opening the door for Kinney to demand that DeLoach be formally removed from office. DeLoach claims that even if those ballots were improperly cast, it's impossible to guess which direction the votes went, asserting when in court, a special election would need to be held immediately. I understand that the public wants to know why I filed this election contest, Kinney said in a statement provided in December. It is imperative that the public have the trust of their elected officials and their democratic system of government. To that end, I believe I am obligated or obliged this election when the results of the sheriff's election were certified on the basis of votes from convicted felons. That I have is off of Liberty Headlines, and it says U.S. credit card debt rises above $1 trillion. This originally came from Zero Hedge. It says, unlike last month's unexpected weak consumer credit report, which saw a plunge in revolving or credit card, the Fed, in its latest G19 release, announced that there were few surprises in the February report. Total revolving credit rose by $2.9 billion, undoing last month's $2.6 billion drop, the biggest since 2012. While non-revolving credit increased by $12.3 billion for a total increase in February consumer credit of $15.2 billion, roughly in line with $15 billion expected. In general, the data was uneventful. There was one notable milestone. In February, following revisions, total revolving credit card debt has once again risen above the nice round number of $1 trillion for the first time since January of 2007. Article is off BizPack Review, and it says, paranoid Hollywood director puts his ignorance on full display when he sounds the gay alarm on Trump. Hollywood liberal Joss Whedon may be existing in an alternate reality like Whedon sounded the alarm in a tweet on Thursday, warning that President Trump could be leading America toward the path of Chinicha's government and begin murdering homosexual men. is predominantly Muslim. So what is to say here? He puts out a tweet that says, caller put out a tweet that says, Josh Whedon, don't let President Trump turn America into a Muslim country. The article says his over-the-top claim that it's where we are headed referred to New York Times story citing a Russian report that authorities were arresting and killing gay men. Josh Whedon puts out a tweet and says, this is harrowing and it's where we're all headed if we don't unite and act. Please use your resistance skills to address this atrocity. Warning that President of the United States could be leading America to be like a Muslim nation. Put out a tweet that says, Josh Whedon warns Trump may start killing gay people, and with a little poster thing that says, what an idiot. Whedon's tweet, though it's quite a stretch, is not surprising coming from the director of Marvel's The Avengers, who has been a vocal critic of Trump. Someone named Matthew put out a tweet that says, too bad there won't be anyone or any more great sci-fi characters from Josh Whedon now that Trump's derangement syndrome has destroyed his brain. It says he pulled together a shit ton of famous people like stars from his Avenger movies to beg people to vote in a condescending video he released last September. He followed with a meltdown after Trump won the election, demanding that the real estate billionaire not be allowed a term in office. Whedon's fear-provoking tweet about President's threat to the gay population seemed unfounded, however. Trump reached out to the LGBTQ community on the campaign trail during his speech at the Republican National Convention last July. The president also declared he was fine with Supreme Court's 2015 decision to legalize marriage between same-sex couples. Users slammed the liberal director for his tweet and for apparently losing his grip on reality. And there's a bunch of tweets here if you want to pull those up to read those yourself. The next article I have is off of BizPack Review. Professor accepts award, slams PC schools, thanks his teachers for not giving a damn about. This says, syndicated columnist and Professor Walter E. Williams chastised today's college snowflakes, academic dishonesty of educators using classrooms to push their political views. A distinguished professor of economics at George Mason University, where he taught for 36 years, commented on the differences between his academic experience and those of today's generation at an award ceremony in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, according to Town Hall. A tweet about that here, if you want to see that. It says, many of the professors, particularly those on socialistic side of the political spectrum, use their classrooms to students, he said. While professional publication is common and accepted in most universities, I believe that to use one's classroom to push one's personal beliefs is both immoral and academic dishonesty. Williams was awarded the Bradley Prize from the Lynd and Harry Bradley Foundation for his lifetime work defending conservative ideals as an educator, author, and commentator. He tipped his hat to his own teachings, giving a damn about his self-esteem and treating him like an adult during his school years, contrasting his own experiences with the current entitled generation that is coddled and given safe spaces at today's colleges. Williams noted teachers and employers care more about people's feelings rather than their performance. Try it again. It is a cowardly act to take advantage of student immaturity by indoctrinating them with the professor's opinions before the student has developed the maturity and skill to examine other opinions, he said. In his own classroom, Williams practices what he preaches. He allows his students to raise their hands and object if his lesson becomes subjective. His students remind him that they signed up for his class to learn economics, indoctrinated with his values. Bradley prizes of $250,000 each are awarded each year to innovative thinkers and practitioners whose achievements strengthen the legacy of the Bradley brothers and the ideas to which they were committed. The brothers believed that the good society is a free society and were committed to preserving and defending the institutions of free representative government and private enterprise. The article I have is off of Conservative Tribune, and it says Obamacare parlors to show million calorie options in store. President Barack Obama is out of the White House. He left many messy pieces of legislation behind. One of the biggest and worst laws he ever created was the so-called Affordable Care Act. And one of the more ridiculous aspects of it kicks in on May the 5th. New nutritional labeling rules being implemented by the Food and Drug Administration. Posting signs that include calorie count for every item of food that appears on the menus of restaurants that have 20 or more locations. National Review's Kevin Williamson reported. The change might not be for restaurants who offer a small selection of food, but for pizzerias, it's a disaster that can only be attributed to the lunacy of the left. The labeling of nutritional values for every type of pizza, not to mention costly. Papa John's CEO and founder John Schnatter in 2012 implementing the rule would eventually cost the consumer. Our best estimate is that the Obamacare will cost 11 to 14 cents per pizza or 15 to 20 cents per order from a corporate basis, he said. We're not supportive of Obamacare, like most businesses in our industry, but our business model and economics are about as ideal as you can get for a food company to absorb Obamacare, he added. Domino's executive Tim McIntyre has similar things to say about the law. He told National Review's Williamson that after doing the math, it would be expensive and cumbersome. Just to thick to hand-tossed pan pizza, multiple sizes, cheeses, toppings. There are about 34 million possible combinations, he said. That's difficult to put on a menu. It would also be difficult to post all that information on a sign. Encapsulates the lunacy of so many Democrat laws and regulations that end up costing consumers too much and doing very little. I have for you this morning. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up. Share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and that way you'll stay informed.